Hello, what's going on? What's happening? This your girl Tiffany here, live in effect. So, the month of March is Women's History Month. All right. So, it's celebrated throughout the whole entire month. And what I like to do on this channel is like take the time out to acknowledge the women that has made the contribution across the world. All right, especially our sisters. So, we got to give more credit to the sisters out there because it's not enough credit that's being recognized or received to Black women as far as their contribution and dedication they have done. So, however, when we deal with the history, just like dealing with Black history, we got to deal with the history about the good, the bad, and the ugly that women have contribute and got involved in. So, we have to look into all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's very important. So I'm gonna do the best I can to cover up a lot of information as much as possible. So to kick it off right, I want to start off talking about Mary Kenner. So many don't know who Mary Kenner is, but we're going to learn today, especially as women. We gotta learn about this woman here because she has really changed the game for us, as far as as far as our health is concerned and how we go about dealing with our time of the month. It's already bad enough when that time of the month comes on. There's the cramps. There's the other stuff I don't want to get into, but the main thing is the cramps. So, and she has made it effective to where, when we wear personal items, we don't have to necessarily feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So, I would say that she has changed the game when it came down to sanitary napkins. So, and she has invented other things, but she's pretty known for that. So she has created what's called a sanitary belt. All right. So you just put the pad on the sanitary belt and it's supposed to like keep it in place. Okay. And then over the years, the Kotex and the maxi pads start coming in, you know, stay free always. All right, those different brands now they got to where women can use the little cup, which I personally wouldn't do, but there's some people that can use. It's like a little cup that you can put inside your vaginal area, and I don't see who want to do that. It's bad enough that there's tampons, and a lot of people are not comfortable with wearing tampons either. But anyways, we gotta get through this. So we're gonna discuss a lot of things on here. I'm gonna get into a lot of stuff regarding to women history. It's a lot of things I gotta get into. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be good, bad, ugly, and all of that. So let's go ahead and get started on who is Mary Patrice Davidson Kenner. So I'm just gonna show you guys a picture of her real fast. All right. Okay, so if you want to find out more information about her, you can go on blackdoctor.org. Again, blackdoctor.org. It's a very good website, very reliable, especially when it comes to information about health, overall health, everything else. Just go on this website. This website generally focus on African American health, and just also not just here in America, but also just internationally as well. So I recommend people go on this website. All right. So that's a picture of Miss Mary Patrice Davidson Kenner. Okay. Mary Patrice Davidson Kenner. All righty then. All right. So, okay. So here's another website I want to show y'all really, really quick. All right, so here's the website right here. It's sciencemuseumgroup.org. Okay, so you can go on here and check out this website right here, sciencemuseumgroup.org. Okay, and it's called the American. It goes into the birth of Mary Kenner. She was born May 17th. Okay. All right. So as you can see, it talk about the co-text and all that. So co-text inexpensive, comfortable, hygienic, and safe. So at once upon a time, getting pads was very cheap at one point in time. You know what I'm saying? And so here it is, the sanitary belt, a company safety pin made by Dr. White's, used to hold menstrual towels in place. Okay. All right. So as you can see, that's her invention. That's her work right there. Okay. So it was filed on July the 20th, 1954. And it was approved on May 15, 1956. And that's the patent number. So the patent number is always important because they recognize like who was the person that invented, etc. Okay. Okay. So that's this website. At one point in time, pads was very, it was very cheap, but now pads are getting too damn expensive. It depends on which ones you buy. You don't want to buy them cheap ones because the dirt cheap ones, the store brand ain't always good. You know what I'm saying? So when you go buy stuff like Always, Stay Free and shit like that shit get expensive. It depends on the size that you're trying to get. Well, because of the flow of the period. So let me put out there for those who may be confused. When you buy maxi pads, right, or sanitary napkins, okay, there's different level to it. You got the regular, you got the light, I think, and you got the heavy, and you got the overnight, okay, and you got the super heavy one, I think. That's the other one. So those level just represents the flow of the menstrual cycle. So how heavy your period is. You know what I'm saying? It don't necessarily represent your size, your weight like that. I mean, they do got some for people who are a plus size, those who cannot wear regular sanitary napkins. They do have those. They kind of look like the pins a little bit. So, but anyways, when you see that on the maxi pad, it just represent the flow. Like some women have, light periods, and there's those who have heavy periods. Okay. So for those who may not know or may be confused by that, it just represents the flow of the menstrual cycle. So some women have heavy periods, some women have light periods. So if women who have light period, they get like the regular kind and something that's just like a little bit smaller to where they ain't gotta wear no overnights because their period's not, they don't bleed as heavy or bleed as much. But then you have those who kind of bleed heavy on the second day, and they have to wear something like overnight to kind of like, you know, things like that. So that way they ain't gotta change themselves in a couple of hours, for the next 3 or 4 hours. But you always want to make sure you change yourself, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because that's not a good feeling if you don't change yourself within those 4 hours range. All right. But I just want to get to that part. But let's go ahead and let's talk about Mary Kenner. All right. Where is she? There we go. All right. So it's called True Fit Elastic Sanitary Belt. Gives perfect comfort. This belt is carefully made to fit correctly and will give excellent satisfaction. Yeah. All right, again, that's a picture of her. Once again, that's her again. Okay. All right, so Mary Beatrice Davidson Kenner was born May 17, 1912, and she died on July the 13th, 2006. She was an African American inventor, most noted for her development of the adjustable sanitary belt, although racial discrimination caused her patent for a sanitary belt to be prevented for 30 years. Kenner received 5 patents, including a carrier attachment for invalid walker and bathroom tissue holder. All right. So So she invented the walker and she invented the tissue holder. Okay. But I would like to know why it take 30 years for her sanitary belt to even come out. Mm. But let's look at it. So she was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and came from a family of inventors. She reportedly had a child that few knew of until recently, a daughter named Jasmine that grew up in South Dallas. Her father, whom she credited for her initial interest in discovery, was Sidney Nathaniel Davidson, June 1892, November 1958. In his lifetime, he patented a clothing press which would fit in suitcases, though he ultimately made no money on the invention. Her father also patented a window washer for trains and invented a stretcher with wheels for ambulance. Ooh. Her grandfather invented a light signal for trains, though this invention was stolen from him by a white man, which is no surprise. Which is no surprise because they known for doing that. And her sister Mildred Davidson Austin Smith invented, patented, and commercially sold board games. So she come from a family of those who were inventors. Okay. Now let's give a recap. Her father invented clothing press, right? He invented the window washer, okay, and the stretchable wheels, or the stretcher with wheels for ambulance. All right. So, anytime you see the stretcher wheels on there, that was his invention. He didn't get credit for that. Her grandfather invented light signals, right? And his invention was stolen by a white man. And her sister invented and sold board games. So she has a long lineage here. Okay. So Kenna graduated from high school in 1931. She attended Howard University, although she was unable to finish due to financial difficulties. Kenna did not receive any college degree or professional training. Women at the time were kept out of scientific establishment or academic institution. Kenna and her family moved to Washington, D.C. when she was young, and here is where she stayed to keep updating on her opportunities to have her ideas patent at the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And here's another one. So it talks about her invention. Invented an adjustable sanitary belt with an inbuilt moisture-proof napkins pocket. She completed the patent application for her invention in 1954. In 1956, the application was approved. The invention was described as an eliminator for chattering and irritation normally caused by devices of its class. However, the company that first showed interest in her invention, the Sun Nap Pack Company, rejected it after they discovered she was African American. Kenner never made any money from the sanitary belt because her patent expired and became public domain, allowing it to be manufactured freely. She later invented a modification of the sanitary belt that included a moisture-resistant pocket. In an interview, Mary Kenner said, "One day I was contacted by a company that expressed an interest in marketing my idea. I was so jubilant. I saw houses, cars, and everything about to come to my way. A representative made their way to Washington to speak with Kenner, and she continues to explain that they had rejected her by saying, sorry to say, when they found out I was black, their interest dropped. The representative went back to New York and informed me the company was no longer interested." Now, see, that's sad. That's sad. This woman went through all the invention to create something that was going to be very effective for women all alike, just for the representative to tell her that she cannot. They are no longer interested in buying her product or investing into her product because she's a black woman. So she received no compensation. She received nothing. But that was the time period. This is why we have a hard time. This is why many of us don't have generational wealth, because When our people did invent something, a lot of them got rejected because of the color of their skin. See, you guys have to know the politics that were taking place back in them times. You know what I'm saying? So it still affected the generation to come. That's how things was back then. All right. So this is the 50s we talking about, man. And that wasn't too long ago. The 50s. The late 50s at that, going into the 60s. It was not that long ago. Just imagine that. Imagine how that made her feel. Let's continue. Okay, between 1956 and 1987, she received 5 total patents for her household and personal items creation. She shared the patent on the toilet tissue holder with her sister, Mildred Davidson. She also held a patent on her backwasher that could be mounted on the shower or bathtub wall, also known as the backwash. This invention was patented in 1987, patent number 4696068. She also patented the carrier attachment for a walker in 1959 after Mildred developed multiple sclerosis. And I got a sister that's dealing with that right now. All right. So her personal life. So Mary Kenner worked as a professional floral arranger and had 4 flower shops scattered around Washington, D.C. area. She operated the business for 23 years after dropping out of college due to financial difficulties. During World War II, Mary found a job with the federal government working for the Census Bureau and General Accounting Office. She would chaperone younger women to attend military base dances in Washington, D.C. One night, while chaperoning, Kenner met and fell in love with a soldier whom she married in 1945. They divorced in 1950. In 1951, Kenner was married to renowned heavyweight boxer James Jabbo Kenner. Together, they lived in Moline, Virginia, near the Kennedy's complex. They were foster parents to 5 boys. Hey there, Vinyasa. How you doing? Peace. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. All right, so right here you can find also the list of African American inventors and scientists, okay, and the timeline of United States invention. Then there's the references right here at the bottom of the page. Okay, so it says biographies of Black female scientists, inventors, and interdisciplinary middle school curriculum guide. What shall I tell my children who are Black? And it says the forgotten Black woman inventor who revolutionized menstrual pads. And then also there's the further reading at the bottom, as you can see. The women invented by Jean F. Blatchfield, amazing American inventors of the 20th century. Laura S. Jeffrey, Patricia C. Slubby, the inventive spirit of African Americans. Women inventors, okay. So you can look up www.ncpedia.org, which is North Carolina Encyclopedia. Okay, and that's that. So that's that information. I want to talk real brief. I want to talk brief about this. Going back to what I was saying earlier. So although this sister did not receive a lot of credit for her invention on the sanitary belt, but years later, it was recognized, and it has really changed the game. It has really made room for improvements for sanitary products, personal products for women. So a lot of us women would not be comfortable if it wasn't for those inventions. But just going back and looking at the fact that she did not receive her credit or didn't even get compensated for her product. I mean, so all them years she already had to drop out of college, right? Because of financial difficulty. Then from financial difficulty not to get paid because she was Black. So that goes to show at that time how they felt about African Americans. They felt that African Americans could not be as advanced and educated. They could not be as intellectual as whites. So that's the scientific racism behind it. You see a black woman create something, oh no, we got to get rid of this. No, we can't put her on because that means that now we in competition with them. You know what I'm saying? And that pretty much hindered her for years to come. It already hindered her grandfather when he was known for his invention by building a light for the train. However, a white man came in and took over and got paid off of it. And back then, you couldn't file no lawsuit. You could not file no lawsuit back then. So if white folks came in and took over your invention, that's just it. You can't do nothing by it. Ain't no lawsuit because you're not going to win. You're not going to win it. So, I mean, just imagine all the trouble that our people had to go through just for us to be able to get into a field, right? Be able to invent our products, to be able to show it off on Instagram and TikTok, especially advertise them. You know, that was our people that made it possible for us. So if it wasn't for those people, where would we be today? And I'm all for Black Future Month. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for Black Future Month. But what would Black Future Month be if it wasn't for Black history? I'm going to say it again. What would Black future be without Black history? You can't have a Black future if you don't have the history. Because you got to know the origins. And then you got to know where you are now. So, and a lot of stuff, our kids, and when we was coming up, we never learned this stuff in school. They only gave you limitation of information. They only gave you enough just so you can get by. And whatever they want you to know, that's what they want you to, that's whatever they want to teach in the school system, that's what you was going to learn. You didn't have enough power. Our people didn't have enough power and say, hey, we want to learn this. We want to learn that. They did put up a protest for it. They put up a protest for it. They put up a fight for it. But then they didn't have that type of power. They weren't controlling the administration. They weren't controlling the school system. So it was, okay, you're going to learn a little bit of this, and it's back to our history. It's back to the European history. It's back to knowing about the American Revolution, the damn the World War I, the World War II, all of that. They made it look like as if our history was not as significant and it didn't have that much importance. You already see they trying to get rid of critical race theory. They was trying to get rid of that during Black History Month. Now, you know what I'm saying? I mean, now you see how that's going to affect even more. They trying to get rid of critical race theory. Prior to that, they don't want to talk about history. Black history. They only give you a few names that you should know. Everybody else is going to be kept in the dark. So it's pretty sad that you have to really go dig a little deep go into the library and look up encyclopedias or go online and all of that to find out stuff. And hopefully one day that somebody can be able to break that cycle even further and, get all this stuff on the, especially the Black network, right? Expose all the information. But knowing with some of these Black networks, not all of them, but some of them, they're too house niggerish, in my opinion. House niggerish. They too bougie. They trying to accommodate their white audience. You know what I'm saying? And that's not fair. That to me, that just, it's like, well, what's the purpose of being a Black network if all you focus on is accommodating the white audience? So hopefully that more and more information will be exposed and will gain a lot of exposure and be put into the mainstream so people can really see and say, oh, okay, well, There was more to this. We didn't know. And also, and thank you, Vinyasa, for putting they won't comprehend that, since a lot of these skin folks became too entitled to comprehend what you're saying, especially these woke skin folks. Oh, and that's another thing. I'm glad that you talking about that too. We got also dispels a lot of misinformation when it comes to history. I seen the other day, I'm trying to think. It was the Vic medicine. Somebody said it was a black man that invented the Vic medicine. And I said, well, let me look that up. So if you guys don't know what Vic is the grease that you use to put on your chest. It's supposed to get rid of the cold and mucus. I remember using it growing up as a child. So I looked it up and I said, well, the name and the picture does not fit the information. It happens to be somebody else. That's another thing that we gotta stop doing. We gotta stop trying to blackenize everything. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. So like, we know that certain people did not invent certain things, okay? You know, you can't put a black face on everybody. I'm sorry. You know, that's another thing that needs to be stopped. Because I remember people was talking about the first black president was John Henson. And John Henson was an ambassador of Liberia. John Henson was an ambassador. He was not the first black president, but people went along with this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And that's sad. So it gives room for people to prey on your vulnerability and your gullibility just by coming in and spraying any kind of information, whether it be false, and it could sound good. And, you know, our people just go along with that. That just show how gullible we are. How gullible we are as a community. Anybody can come along and say anything. And then you know who they can really go after? Do you know who are the most vulnerable people and they go along with a lot of shit? It's the black celebrities. They the main easy target to these pseudos intellect. They are the easiest targets. I know is that. So with those pseudos intellect, all they gotta do is say something, make it sound good, and here come the black celebrities. They go along with that. They spend all this buku money on this individual and don't realize that this individual is a scam artist, is a fraudulent. Because they know that a lot of them don't do their research, don't do their homework assignment. And they don't care to. I mean, all that money you got, but you don't take the time out to actually go look up shit for yourself to verify things, right? I mean, it's just really sad, but hopefully more and more and more will come out. And more information will bring about exposure, not to only African American history, but also to women history as well. You know what I'm saying? And to African history in general. All right. We talking about in the diaspora, we talking about in the continent. So that way it can dispel all the chaos and confusion. But it gotta take the people. But it gotta take a people to actually want to be able to think outside the box and just go and learn on their own. So that's why I try to learn a variety of subjects, and I'm not gonna learn everything at once. But I try to find out stuff, and I try to share what I can. You know what I'm saying? To those who may be interested. I know I'm not gonna reach a whole lot of audience, and that's okay with me. I'm okay with that. My goal ain't to reach every single person, but if I can reach somebody, and I know that I've helped the individual out by putting up the source or by giving you some reading materials, then I know that I did my job at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I did my job at the end of the day. And by the way, I do this for free. Okay. I don't get paid for what I do. I do this because I want to. You know, I do this because I feel that it's necessary. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it will really benefit somebody, especially a black woman like myself. You know, the black woman can see, okay, well, there's more to it than what's being talked about. There's more to us. And they don't have to sit there and go along with the stereotype or the social stigma about themselves. They can say, well, you know what? I'm very impressed by this. Let's look into this. And speaking of that, shout out to the content creators on TikToks. and Instagram. Shout out to those individuals. I see a lot of people, that's getting into the entrepreneurship. I see a lot of folks, they are chefs. I see a lot of folks that are getting into like the fashion and all of that, making their own clothes, making their own jackets and things like that. Um, yes, I see people that's doing a lot of creative things, and there are those who getting recognized for it, but they're not gaining enough recognition. So hopefully one day, if my channel grows any bigger, I want to be able to like put focus on uh black creators, those who are entrepreneurs, those who have their own clothing, um those who are chefs and all that. I want to put my focus into that to give them more exposure, what I'm saying, or expose. So that can inspire more and more of our people to step up and show off their creativity. But shout out to those brothers and sisters out there. I see y'all, and I'm giving y'all praise for that. So in other words, they invented a headache. Nicest comment I can make towards the subject. Hmm. Hmm. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. We're gonna leave it alone. All right then. But anyways, y'all have a good evening and y'all be safe out here on some real shit. I'm about to go ahead and close it out. So with that being said, peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany. And I'm saying deuces. And I thank y'all for showing support to my channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell and check out all of the other contents out there. And make sure you share it on your platform or whatever. And until then, I'll catch up with y'all. All right. Peace. Thank you. Goodbye.